Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. There was I guess you'd say it's a battle of guys whose careers have sort of, wavered a bit, depleted a little bit over the years. Certainly that's true of Jack Arnfield, who didn't box for 6 years, and he fought Zach Parker, who in recent years hasn't exactly, set the world alight. His career hit the old roadblock following a defeat to John Ryder. And oddly enough, Jack Arnfield has a win over John Ryder. Going back many, many years, he also has a win over Brian Rose. Fought Nick Blackwell, lost on points for the British title, lost to Tommy Langford for the British title back in 2018, and that's when he took that big sabbatical of 6 years. But Parker, this Arnfield fight was his third fight back after being stopped in 4 rounds, actually retiring in 4 rounds with a broken hand against Ryder back in 2022. So this was kind of a crossroads fight. I mean, Arnfield is now 35 years old, so this really was last chance saloon. For Parker, he's 30, so you really got to get his skates on, because you would have thought at one point, the way his career was going, that he might be a world champ by now at super middleweight. In actual fact, the fight with Arnfield was, I think it was a catchweight, but it was classed as being a light heavyweight fight. But Parker came in with 24 wins, 17 KOs, 1 defeat, the defeat to Ryder, John Ryder. Arnfield came in with 26 wins, 3 defeats, and the 3 defeats were all on points, like I say. So you had to really fancy Parker to win, being the younger, fresher guy, although there was the question, well, Arnfield's had 6 years out, and he's only come back with a little 6-round run around against journeyman Robbie Chapman. Maybe that break did him some good. Well, it actually turned out that Parker was the one showing a lot, as if he had a lot left. He seemed to be pretty much back on point. Very sharp punches with particularly the counters, particularly the right hand, his orthodox fight, so he's bringing that backhand, that right hand over. Arnfield, a little bit slow with the jab. Nice shape, he was competitive. He was coming forward, trying to pop the jab, but he was a little bit slow in bringing it back, and that allowed Parker to ping the right hand over the top. Bit of a portent of things to come, really, when he landed in the first round. That right hand came over. You could tell that Arnfield looked a bit rusty, to be honest. I don't know whether it was age or whether it was inactivity, maybe a bit of both. The commentators were saying, it might be conditioning. I'm not so sure. I don't know. It could have been. But it looked to me like Arnfield he looked like someone who'd been out of the ring a long time. Whereas Parker seemed to be someone who was, who still had, still full of beans, still full of energy, still looking to be ambitious, to be motivated. There just seemed to be a sharpness about Parker that was missing in Arnfield. And Arnfield was able to land a few half-decent punches, but for the most part, it was Zach Parker who was being first with the punches and last in exchanges. But it was a 10-round fight, and you did get the feeling, okay, we've got a long way to go. And then suddenly, in the 4th round, again, Arnfield was a bit too slow, a bit too sort of slapdash, and Parker caught him with a good right hand that put him over. He got up, he was okay, a little bit shaken, a little bit buzzed, and then Parker jumped all over him. Referee let the fight continue. Parker was jumping all over him. Arnfield he was just too slow, and he didn't seem to have many ideas. He wasn't grabbing and holding, and Parker was able to put him down for a second time, and that's the way that it finished. The referee didn't even bother counting on the second occasion, and Arnfield did look like a guy who, he didn't complain much. He looked like a guy who didn't really have a lot of self-belief, and that's a shame, because I think probably he's looking back and thinking, I wasted so much of my career. 6 years out is a long time. I don't know why he had that amount of time out. But Parker, definitely reborn again. Born again, I should say. Looking sharp, looking like he's got a bit more ambition back, a bit more self-belief back. And there was that long period after the Ryder fight where he just he just seemed to have some issues, some emotional issues, some confidence issues, perhaps. I don't know. For Arnfield, this was his fourth defeat, and it was his first stoppage defeat. And at 35, you got to wonder, is this the end for him? It probably is, to be honest with you. But for Parker, even though he's 30 now, he's back in the driving seat. Which division, though? Light heavyweight or super middle? I thought it was a super middle. Maybe he'll come down. Maybe he'll come back down to super middle. I don't know. But if I was him, I'd still keep rebuilding. I mean, he scored a good win over Tyro and Zoiga, 10 rounds, but he was on the floor in the first round in that fight. Zoiga himself, inactive. There's a lot of inactive super middleweights we're talking about here. But this Arnfield fight, again, did it flatter to deceive? Good fourth round TKO, but I'd have another couple of 10 rounders before jumping up to anything like world level. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's a former British champ. He's a good fighter, but you just get the feeling that Parker, perhaps a little bit of a front footer, perhaps a little bit of one of those guys who gets on fine when he's in the front running, but then when he's under the cosh, I think that's the question mark hanging over his head. So we'll see. But another couple of 10 rounders for Parker is, I think, what the doctor ordered. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, what did you think of this fight? It was on the Magnificent 7 card, Queensberry's card. What do you think of Parker? Do you think he's getting it back gradually? Do you think he ever had it? Do you think he's could ever be world level? Do you think it's the end for Arnfield? Leave your comments below. Whatever comments you got, leave them below. I'll have a read. And, of course, thank you, as always, for subscribing and watching this video. Much appreciated, as always. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new. It takes a second, and you're helping out the channel a great deal. And, yeah, plenty more to come tonight, so I'll catch you later. Bye for now.